This is Top Shop Podcast.
Shop Podcast.
Top Shop Podcast.
Podcast for automotive service business owners by Paul Donahue.
Hey, Top Shop Podcast listeners. I got another great guest, Peter Bailey. 17 years in the business altogether, owner of Limitless Garage in Des Moines, Iowa. So, all right, I got to start with, my name is Paul Donahue. So I heard the Phil Donahue thing all growing up. So Peter Bailey, because I watched that movie every Christmas.
Yeah.
So, but I've never met a Peter Bailey. So it's the first time. So any of you that don't know what Christmas movie that is, then you need to. It's a Wonderful Life, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
Everybody likes It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah. So hey, tell me, share just real quick. Peter, tell me how'd you get here? Where's your, how'd you start? How'd you get involved in the auto repair and
Yeah, you got it. I started automotive repair when I was probably, but when I was in high school still, I was interested in auto. And so I started going after small engine repair and stuff like that. I worked at a couple local shops where I grew up in the Pella, Iowa area. And then after that, when I started going on to college, that's where I got into automotive. And even before I ended up going to trade school. I got my General Motor ASEP degree.
Mm-hmm.
And before I even went there, I started working full-time for a shop in Des Moines, an independent shop in Des Moines. And at that point, I worked there almost 2 years before I decided, hey, I like this and I want to do this full-time moving forward. So I went to trade school at that point for General Motors at a local college here, DMAC. And I spent 2 years in that program with some internships along the way and enjoyed that thoroughly the entire time. And then when I graduated, I was about, at that point in time, going on my 5th year at that shop that I was at. And I ended up staying a total of 9 years at that same location as an automotive technician. And I worked my way through just your brakes, wheel bearings, oil change, light maintenance kind of guy, all the way through a heavier rebuild. So engines, transmissions, everything like that, all the way then into a lot of diags. The last 2 years that I spent at that shop was spent in as a diag tech for them, and then also spent in service writing and service managing for them as well.
Okay, awesome. So so what made you what motivated you to open your own shop?
Yeah, you got it. There was an in-between piece there actually that might be worth mentioning. So I spent 9 years all the way until 2019 at that place. And in 2018, I started getting the itch that, hey, I want to build leadership skills because I know that that's my next step if I want to be able to own something someday. I had a decent amount of time both as a tech and then some time also in customer relations with them when it came down to service advising for them. So at that point, it was, hey, I want to be able to lead people, and where can I find the best route there? At that point, I started looking at different jobs entirely, not even in the automotive industry, but I kept running down the same route of, hey, I've got almost a decade in automotive. This seems to be the best route for me to stay in. And I ended up getting turned on to another local or at least family-owned business that was in automotive, but it was in quick lube at that point in time.
Okay.
Yeah. But they had an opening for a store manager that they were interested in. So I interviewed for that position and I got it. And in short order, while they were training me with my automotive background, I fit better into an ops manager role for them than I did into a general manager role in the store. So I took an ops manager position for them and worked directly with the CEO and owner at that point. They had 3 locations that we were working through, and I then got the responsibility of overseeing general managers, assistant managers, and then their entire staff, which ended up being like over 75 people across these 3 stores. So I got dumped right into leadership, right into a whole bunch of stuff with that. And they had a really good process there, but at the same time, there's a lot of tweaking. After spending that, I spent 9 years in automotive repair. And then after spending another 4 years going on my 5th year at that place, that's when I came to the conclusion, hey, I've had a lot of experience now. Like I'd conducted like over 250 to 300 interviews at that point in time. I'd hired a whole lot of people through there because it churns people fast, and you got to learn how to select leaders, train people, try to build retention, build a company that's going to be profitable for the owners. After doing all that, that's when end of 2023, I was like, all right, I'm ready to start thinking about opening my own business. What does this need to look like? And that's when Limitless Garage was born at that point in time at the beginning of 24.
What would you say your biggest challenges have been so far?
Well, now it's, as everybody, it's finding talented team members. But at the same time,
Right.
overall, it's been an up and down thing. Like I've now had the opportunity to speak to several different people that have had podcasts, including you now. And what it's been for me is a little bit of, well, I started the shop on my property at the beginning in a pole barn, right? It was just me. In short order, I had to move out of that. I hired my first guy. I had to move out, and it was a quick transition into, I get commercial space. I start to lease things. But at the same time, it started out as just getting customers, and that was a pain point, right? Like being able to get customers. So then it was marketing myself and trying to find areas that I could get around that as quickly as possible. So I started doing pickup and delivery, of course, right away. And I would run all the vehicles, then my guys would run all the vehicles. So we started doing that. Then it ended up being building a brand and experience that I wanted customers, because above all, that is one of my most that's something that I'm focused on the most for my customers, is building a brand and experience with Limitless Garage that has a higher end, almost luxury feel and clientele even to it to a certain extent, while we never turn away anybody. And we have everybody from your Honda Accords and Odysseys all the way up through. We now have some people that drive like Maseratis coming through here. It's building an experience that all those people will enjoy and want. And so with that, we ended up putting a lounge in that has a nice atmosphere, and then it's selecting scents that I want in the lounge to make people think of us when they're in here. So when you ask of like, what are pain points, it seems like along the journey, there's going to be a change or going to be a different one each piece of the journey as you go, as you continue to get larger. And right now, I got to find another A-level tech that can do diag and repair.
So speaking of techs, any tips or advice on finding, hiring, and retaining good techs? That is because I ask that question on every auto repair shop owner, because it's that's the big one of the biggest pain points for all of them. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm. Above all, in my experience, it's been culture and atmosphere for techs.
Right.
Of course, you have to be able to meet what they need to make, so you got to be able to pay well. I think that's somewhat of a byproduct for a lot of good, talented people, though. And ultimately, what they're looking for is a lot of times it's room for advancement. It's building autonomy for them. And then it's building a culture that they love and they want to be a part of. I constantly talk to my guys right now of, hey, when we build a culture, and as we're building this one here we have 4 of us at the moment. As we build this, you all better be coming each day as teammates and players that are playing to win a Super Bowl. We're here to work and we're here to have fun at the same time, but we're all working as a team. And if we don't build that culture, it all goes haywire as soon as anybody steps out.
Right. So there's it's a question I ask in every podcast. Any recommendations on how you feel it's that you can build a really good culture? Because the shops that do, I just got off a podcast yesterday with somebody, and I asked him, I said, do you ever have techs just come and say, are you hiring? And he goes, yeah. I said, I already know it because of your shop culture.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. They hear about me and they come in. So, but do you have any advice on shop culture? Like a lot of guys say, oh, well, we always do like a Friday lunch or something like that, where, the staff that eats together, type things. Any tips on generating good culture?
Sure. When I start to think about like what you mentioned there, when it comes down to team building events, right? Whether it's going out to eat, bringing or catering things in, Friday afternoons, getting off early, anything like that, I would classify that under morale a lot for guys, right? You're going to build a high morale as guys are able to spend time together, get to know each other, and then also you as a shop owner bringing in those things. When it comes down to culture building, I start to think a lot more down the trail of transparency from a leader and an owner, and also direct, critical, but kind feedback. That, in my opinion, is huge, because nobody likes to walk around on eggshells wondering did I do something wrong today? Or if I did do something wrong, is somebody going to talk to me about it? And those end up being sticking points for a lot of really good techs, which is they don't feel like they can advance because nobody's talked to them about the fact that maybe they did something incorrectly once, but it's not the end of the world, right? So for all of my guys here, if there's something that goes wrong, I want the transparency and openness to be able to go to them, and we have a kind, honest conversation, and it's not yelling or anything like that, right? It's, hey, this is the area that we struggled today. This is how we're going to change it moving forward. I know you can do it, and we're going to get on the right path for the next one. And here we're going to continue doing this together, right? So my honest feedback for building a great culture is transparency and strong leadership. So the guys have something to look to. They know their trajectory. They're constantly getting feedback, and they don't feel like they're stuck in a grind every single day.
Mm-hmm. So leadership skills. A lot of auto repair shop owners, they're ASE master techs, and they decide they're going to open a shop.
Yep.
They haven't exactly read books on leadership or anything like that. So any books, resources, or anything that you can recommend that's helped you with your leadership style?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, there's a couple right off the bat that I think of, like Jocko Willink wrote Extreme Ownership, right? I think for any leader, that's a great one to start with, because you do need to be able to know how to take the brunt of everything and still know how to move forward and not to blame it on other people.
Right.
Another one is Good to Great, Scaling a Business or Building a Business. That was a good book that I read. I constantly am listening to podcasts, not only in automotive. I do like to listen to things in automotive, but I like to, for leadership, I normally reach out of automotive and I start to listen to, like, of course, EntreLeadership with Dave Ramsey. They've got really good stuff that's not necessarily financial, but just in the course of leadership. That's great.
Yeah.
I think for one of the main pieces for leaders is learning how to delegate correctly. And Dave Ramsey's EntreLeadership does teach a really good strategy for delegation that I've implemented and that I use both myself and in the leaders I've taught in the past. Because that's not a quick win. I think that, to your point, ASE techs that then become business owners really struggle because they don't feel like people can do the job, because they hand them something and then they're like, you won't do it to what I want, right?
Right.
In reality, that could be a 6-12 month process. That's not a 2-week turnaround, hand this to a guy, have them do it. This is, I'm here to train you, be with you, review you, start to trust you, then delegate it to you so you can do it. And every time I get into those instances, it's, I'm on this track for 6 to 9 months with this specific guy. And if he's doing everything correctly, he's going to make it. But if I start to see red flags, back to transparency, I'm going to address it with you, and we're going to have a kind conversation to figure out what's next.
Wow. Excellent system it sounds like you've got. Yeah. Yeah. And what was that first book? I've heard it. I've got Good to Great.
Good to Great. Extreme Ownership.
Extreme Ownership.
Extreme.
Anytime I hear of any book Extreme Ownership. All right. I'll look that one up on Amazon later. So,
check it out.
So finances. No shop is going to make it without a good, strong, financial system or policy in place. Any suggestions on someone just getting started, or even someone who's been in business for a while, on how to handle finances optimally?
Yeah. Know that it grows along the trajectory of your business, right? And I know that everybody probably does realize that, but when you start small, right, you're going to have a different set. Not only you're not going to have a different set of financials, but you're going to have a different set of cash flow and everything like that, just total revenue. And as you continue to grow that revenue, while it becomes larger, you start to divvy it into different areas, right? So what I did was I took everything, from the business knowledge that I knew, I took everything when it came down to marketing, to reaching out to customers, to point of sales, to the tools that I have, everything like that. And I took it in chunks. And when I was first starting, I took the chunk of investment into tools and equipment that I would need. And everything else, when it came down to point of sales, marketing, everything else, I did a lot of research and I became as good as I could at doing those things. But I sunk most of my money into equipping a facility so that I had just the tools that I could do. As I continued to grow in revenue, then I started bringing in those other areas as I could afford to pay for them. So I didn't feel like I was taking this one lump sum of, I've got to be able to afford all of this at once.
Right.
So I take bite-sized chunks. And as soon as I can hit 800 in a year, 800K in a year, as soon as I can hit $1 million a year, 1.5 million, then everything starts to grow after that. But it's knowing what pieces to focus on, in my opinion, so that you don't take the wrong route or wrong path immediately.
Yeah. So planning. You've got a very good planning structure in place. Here's what I do at 6, 8, a million, million two, 1.5 million. So already know, you've already thought about it. This is what I want. This is where we want to be. This is the revenue I need to be to get that. And so you delay gratification of getting the things that you want
Yeah.
until you're ready for them. Okay, that sounds awesome. So where do you think what do you think the biggest what major changes have you seen in the last 5 or 10 years in the industry, and where do you think we're going?
I'm going to start obviously with your first question. What major changes, as I said, or have I seen in the past 3 to 5 years? Everybody knows we're seeing major changes in automotive, just in general, when it comes down to the technology that's in vehicles, right? Techs having to have either more certifications or more knowledge, continued education, right? All of those things are built together to be able to work on, or equip a person to work on the vehicles that we have right now and that we're continuing to see. From a business perspective, we're seeing not only a shift in people have a lot of technology at their fingertips, right? I mean, Google has been a thing of not only the past 3 or 5 years, but far before that, right? We've been able to see, but AI, that's a different turning point for people, bringing that in so that as you're sending an estimate, for instance, and people are looking it up on whatever AI platform that they like, they can come up with they should be able to come up with an answer of why this is the case. And it can be challenging to have those conversations with customers if they're sitting in a seat that they feel like they're driving in the driver's seat of the sale, and maybe they're missing something. So being able to combat that from a front office standpoint can be challenging. But along with that, then as soon as you go down that AI route, we're now seeing a shift in, does AI start to take the place of a lot of people researching just businesses and finding you in general? And if that's the case, then what feeds that from a marketing? So to answer your question, there's in the past 3 to 5 years, it's everything from the technical point of view for the techs themselves, learning more about vehicles, but also the customer's point of view. And how do you talk to somebody? How do you educate them correctly? And then also, how do you stay relevant in the market so that people can find you as well?
Right.
Those have been challenges that I've seen.
So, and then the second part of the question, and this is just conjecture, but just kind of curious what your thoughts are. Where do you think we're going? So, where do you think we're going to be in 10, 15, 20 years from now? Do you
It's
think
a theory,
do
right?
you-
It's
yeah, do you think
it's
EVs will
close.
evolve? Do you think we'll hydrogen, we'll stick with hybrid? I mean, any ideas?
Yeah, I think EV will continue pushing as fast as they can, but I'll be honest, I have my doubts about quickly how quickly it will go down the route of only EV. I don't think we'll ever get to an only EV option. However, I know that that's fully what they have planned, if possible. However, it's gonna be difficult, whether it's the infrastructure or whether it's just the capabilities of the vehicles, and then also the belief of individuals or the consumer wanting to buy those vehicles, right?
Right.
So for that reason, hybrid, I think, is a great option. I'm a huge fan of hybrid just in general, and we work on quite a few here. Electric, there will, over the next 5 to 10 years, yes, we may see more of them. Obviously, me being in the Midwest in Iowa here, I know that a lot of my customers with fully electric vehicles, the main concern or frustration they have is just range when it comes down to negative 10
Yeah,
degrees.
sure.
Because I watch them and I even pull them in and I see them. I pulled in a Lightning the other day and it had half charge and it had a range of 87 miles. And I was like, oh, this is not good. Like, you're going to drive. Granted, it was negative 10 degrees when I pulled this truck in. It was 47%, and it was 87 miles in range. So that's a frustration, I know, for people. That's going to be hard to get past if we don't make progress there. As a shop, though, I fully intend, even no matter where it goes, whether it ends up being more EV than I expect, and it's not just hybrid, I fully plan to continue building out each portion of the business so that I can adopt whatever comes next. Because in reality, while we can speculate all day long, my job as a business owner is to adopt and adapt to whatever I can and to constantly be on the cutting edge so that we can make a difference and we can be a profitable business no matter what vehicles we're servicing, because EVs are going to need work. And I'm more than happy to learn about them more. And I know I have techs that are really interested to continue learning, but hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. So, um, it does. Yeah. I'm personally, I'm hoping for hydrogen. We can figure out how to move it and store it and all that stuff. Cause
Yeah,
drinkable,
hydrogen
drinkable
is a
water
big.
comes out the tailpipe, right? Yeah. So, training, what role do you think that training and ongoing education play in a shop's long-term success?
Oh, it's everything. Like
Okay.
long term, you don't see the
It's
immediate
short term,
effect.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't see the immediate effects in 3 years or even 5 years. You see the effects when you hit the guys 8, 10 years, right? And then it's like, oh, we are seeing less and less cars a decade later of that, right? And for that reason, you always have to be challenging the guy or challenging both yourself and your techs. So training is super important. We're devoted to being able to send our guys to at least one conference a year, along with training once a quarter if possible, whether it be just from the vendors that we have or around us and the resources that we have around us, whether it's an evening, for 3 or 4 hours to be able to go study something that they're interested in. Those are great options. And then along the way for our new techs, of course, we're always working through their ASC certifications to get them to where they need to be. And then
Sure.
sprinkling in the more advanced stuff through the conferences that they're able to attend.
What conferences do you attend? Do you Vision or?
Yeah, we're going to Vision this year again.
Okay.
That's been a favorite, of course,
Right.
and we'll probably do that. Well, we're going to do it this year. We'll probably do it for the next couple of years, and then I may start to structure guys that have gone to Vision for 3 or 4 years and sending them to different conferences, because I know that there's a lot of really great ones across the
Yeah.
U.S. here that I'd love to experiment more with and be able
Yeah.
to send guys around too. So we may end up branching out to multiple, because if I've got new techs, I'm very confident in Vision and the stuff that I can send them to. I
Right.
already know those things. If I've got more experienced guys, I can start to experiment with other conferences as well.
Yeah, well, Tools is, or I'm sorry, Vision is MOACA, Midwest Auto Care Alliance. So MAACA, the Mid-Atlantic Auto Care Alliance, joined up with another organization and they run Tools,
Okay.
Hershey,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. So
Yep.
I think it's, maybe the same distance or closer to you, but it's much smaller. And a
Okay.
lot of the owners and techs really like it because it's really, it's smaller. It's a lot smaller classes, a lot more interaction with the people that attend. So I just thought I'd toss that one out there. It's Tools. Look that one up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's Mid-Atlantic ACA.org. Mid-Atlantic ACA.org.tools or /tools, sorry. Mid-Atlantic ACA.org /tools. So, and
Perfect.
I'll see you in a couple of months at Vision. So be sure to come
Very
by and say
well.
hi. I'll be on the trade show floor. So,
Okay.
yeah, be sure to just come by and say hi. So, any thoughts on work-life integration?
Oh, sure.
I saw wife and 4 kids.
Yeah,
4.
you got it.
I
Yep.
Okay, got to hear the work-life integration one. Any
Yeah.
recommendations?
That's a huge hot topic, right? Especially right now, whether it be for people, techs, or whether it be for owners.
Right.
Um,
Well, I'm more so for owners because I mean, I own a company. I can literally work 16 hours a day. They're just, it never ever stops. There's just, I have a never ending to-do list that I just keep adding things to. So,
got it.
yeah, but I saw, that you're a father with 4 children, and I'm like, okay, I got to ask him about the work-life thing. So
Got it.
any tips?
Sure. Um, Well, first things first, I would say my wife is amazing. Like
Okay.
she does a phenomenal job. Um, I'm also going to reference the last job that I held, because I ended that job as a director of ops in that role there, and I was overseeing a lot. It was still a small business, but it felt like a lot when it comes down to 80 people and you're trying to train leaders.
Sure.
Um, so first of all, with that job over that 4 years, I did figure out how many hours I could work and also sustain, and then also what was burnout for me. Not in burnout, I'm not really going to classify that one, but burnout, take it with a grain of salt. And then also when it came down to a healthy living style for myself and my family. So I figured out I could work 80 to 90 hours a week, and I can do it physically, but it takes a toll and it's only going to last so long, right?
Right.
So when I'm in the trenches in the business, and let's say there's a season where I just need to be in the bays with the guys because we're training another tech and we're trying to get rolling. I know for that season that I'm invested in long hours. And for that reason, then I can normally broadcast or see that at least 2 to 3 months in advance. So hopefully a quarter's worth in advance. And if that's the case, I normally sit down and I'll have a conversation with my wife and I'll tell her, hey, this is the next step with my business, right?
Right.
This is what I'm projecting potentially to be happening. And if that's the case, it's going to take this amount of time from me. Are you okay with this, right? And can we be on a team and get to this next goal? And if it's a yes, which it almost always is, then I'm in the trenches with the guys working. And that's when I'm digging down and I'm like, all right, for the next 90 days, my goal is, so 3 months, or sorry, 90 days, month and a half, my goal is I'm going to invest all the time necessary. But at the end of this, I better be able to walk away from this and be better off than when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
So when I've talked to other owners, and I've also talked to people in companies at a higher level, a lot of times they talk to me about, yes, the work-life balance, but the thing that's always ringing in the back of my head while listening to them is, generally speaking, either they try to get something delegated and they don't trust the way it's being done at the end, right? And it's not to their pleasing, so they're going to take it back. Or they're complaining about their people and their people not being able to do their job. And I go back to where we first started, which was saying leadership, right? If my guys can't do it, they can't do it. But it's on me to make sure that I've groomed the right guys and I can find the right guys. And if I can't, that's my problem, right?
Yeah.
So I think you can see where it's going. But work-life balance, it's seasons for us. Some seasons are very involved and I'm working a lot of hours, which I'm currently doing right now.
Right.
And there's some seasons where I back off the pedal and I'm like, all right, these are going to be our 40-hour work weeks, 45-hour work weeks. It's easy at that point in time and I really enjoy it.
Okay, awesome. All right. So you just you set standards or lines in the sand ahead of time and just stick to them.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So it sounds awesome. So customers, any good tips on how to, retain customers long term?
Sure. Well, point of sale software. So for instance, TechMetric as a point of sale software, they do a great job when it comes down to marketing, automations, everything like that, because that's huge. Being able to reach out to customers on a regular basis, whether it's 5 days after, 2 weeks after, decline services in 6 months, right? Return oil, or being able to remind them about oil changes. Those are all fantastic things. The touches that we personally put on continuing to retain customers has been, at Limitless Garage, we've come up with tiers of service. So for instance, and it's total bill. For instance, if somebody spends between $0 and $1,500, I'll normally try to put aside something in a form of, like, we'll do a handwritten note on our stationery, and I'll do a bottle of water that's branded. We've done car fresheners that we have that are branded and that are scented that I've created specific scents to, and then we'll leave it in the car for them. And then if they're above north of $1,500 to $3,000, it'll normally come with, we're going to detail their car. We have a tech that's really good at detailing. We'll detail their car. We'll put this basket in there, and then I might buy them a $25 or $30 gift card to go with it as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Up and up. And each tier, as we do this, it comes with something different. So our customers are always interested in watching. And the people that come, let's say, and they put an engine in and they spend $11,000, right? Their car is detailed when it comes back to them. They have a gift card and they have something in there. And then our service concierge, which is also a service writer, our service concierge, we've started putting together lists of questions for our customers to ask them to find out more about them as individuals. Like, for instance, we had a customer that was a huge Seahawks fan.
Okay.
That's right now, right? That's a big deal. They're going to the Super Bowl, right? So it's like, okay, what could we get you that shows you something that we know that you're a Seahawks fan, so something branded as Seahawks, but that at the same time that's different because it's 2026 and they're going to the Super Bowl right now. So our service concierge ended up finding them something for that. So it's customizing things to them along the way.
All right, so that's a great idea that you just passed on. There is having an extra time to questionnaire.
Correct. Yeah.
What are your hobbies? What are your hobbies? Any sports, teams that you like, or whatever. And then because if the guy's a fly fisherman, then throw a couple flies in the car, right? So that's really smart. That's a very good idea.
It's super simple, and a lot of times it's not super expensive. I mean, if you're talking flies, you're not talking hundreds of dollars at that point in time.
Right. Yeah. So, have you had any mentorship with anybody that's
Like for
yeah.
shop, or are you talking mentors?
Mentors, yeah. It's a lot of times somebody will go to another shop that maybe may not be like a direct competitor
Okay.
and seek advice. A lot of shops have told me that the most important advice they could ever give to anybody is to get a coach because these coaches have already done we recommend Cecil Bullard at the Institute, so
Yeah, I
um,
just got off an interview with or a podcast with
Oh,
Cecil's.
with Cecil. Oh, okay. All right. That's who we
Yeah,
personally recommend
yeah,
because yeah, he does the same thing that we do. We put tons of free information that's very helpful to shop owners out on the internet, and he's done the same thing. And then we met at a ASTA in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, and a couple years ago, 3 years ago, and just instantly hit it off. So and then I've looked at his material. I've talked to a lot of his customers. That's who we recommend. So,
yeah.
is he your coaching company, or are you thinking about it, or?
Yes, I'm thinking about it. I would say
Okay.
that.
All right.
I've had mentors, yes, as I've gone the tail end. It was interesting. It was not in automotive. However, the tail end of my last job as director of ops, I hired out of my pocket a professional development coach, and for the last 6 months that I was there, and that was fantastic. I mean, it was
Okay.
money well spent. Again, it was not directly in automotive, but they did teach
Right.
me a lot. And then along the way, it's been other business owners, not directly in automotive, but a lot of it ties in because it is, while there is specific business knowledge or specific automotive knowledge that's very helpful, some of the
Right.
stuff that comes from these higher end business coaches was very helpful to me as well. So,
Sure, because
yeah,
it's applicable to all businesses.
correct.
Right. Yeah. So, it looks like the way you do your planning and your structuring, you think things through ahead of time, and it sounds like to me that you are an owner that's really focused on working on your business as well as in, because you're in those earlier days, so you got to work in. But I can clearly see that you are a person that makes sure that you block off hours so you can think about and work on the business, which
Correct.
is the biggest challenge for all of us. If we could just work on the business all the time,
Yeah,
everything else was taken care of. We could just focus on everything to improve the business. That would be awesome. So,
absolutely.
anything, I'm really behind Mike Rowe. I'm really behind educating youths because they were scammed and conned by the school counselors to go get a college degree, because that's what the 1% with the crazy money, they're the ones that donate the money to the colleges, and they want to make sure that they indoctrinate everybody in their
Yep.
liberal colleges. So, no, you don't want your kid to be a plumber,
Yeah.
car
Yep.
mechanic. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now look at the reversal, and even President Trump. I remember him mentioning something about it. He is a tad busy, but he was really and knows and was focused on promoting the trades in America.
Yep.
Not the college degree. So even President Trump is behind it. And I talked with another owner just recently, and he's pretty active in his community. To get that out there. Hey, not everybody wants to work behind a computer. Some people, that's how you learn that they so give it a try. Give the trades a try. Because we got to convince you that, hey, while you can go get a degree and then be looking for a job for years, that AI is probably going to replace anyway in the next 10
Sure.
if it's
Yep.
a mind job.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see a robot do a trainee a job. Let's see a robot do an alignment. Nope. So
Yeah.
these trade jobs are the new gold.
Yeah.
So, and I really want to help promote that. So, are you doing anything in your local community to go out to the schools maybe, or say anything, or post
Yeah.
on social media, or?
Mostly it's just for us, it's organic. So a lot of it ends up being able to pull people in. So I'm a part of I'm a part of several different, like BNI, for instance, Business Network International, which is
Sure.
other businesses, right? I'm a
Yep.
part of multiple of those groups in the Des Moines area. And with those ends up coming up a lot of, whether it be the direct business owners' children coming into these areas, or whether it ends up being even people that they know. So I've
Hmm.
had several people coming through, or several young kids coming through that have shadowed for a day or two, that have come by. We've done a couple like field trips, for instance, even for there's been several really good homeschool groups in the area that have done field trips through our shop with us.
Oh,
That we've
cool.
and so we'll show them, like, we'll do like a 3 to 4 hour visit with them, where it'll be, hey, here's how we change tire, here's how we check oil, here's some of the things that you'll see in an automotive shop and the things that might interest you. What are you having fun with right now in school? Those types of things. Those have been great. I do 100% agree with you that kids right now, and just getting them more knowledgeable or giving them experiences in the automotive industry, it would be is a fantastic option. But also I look at them, and I told the story to a couple of people, including the last podcast I was on. My best tech right now, or at least that he's doing a fantastic job and he's continuing to learn. He was a music major in college.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
yep, I'm not kidding. And he took a different turn, and he decided to go down the automotive route. And then I ended up meeting him and really hitting it off with him. And he came to work with us. Now he's been with us he's going on his first year now. But the beauty of it is he really knows he has great attention to detail. He knows how to study really well. I can give him information and he can look it over and he reads it, and he is quick at it and he retains it, and then he's back on the job. He's constantly interested in learning. So I have been really bound and determined, even when it comes down to shortage, when it comes down to automotive techs. If it's somebody that I'm willing to train, I'm all over the board of looking at different people and different industries of where they're coming from, whether it be, again, music, whether it
Right.
be finance, whatever it ends up being, because there's some really good people out there that
Yep.
are interested.
Yep. And then there's a lot of them that they start sweeping floors and then changing tires, and then they just go from there. I don't know how many shop owners I've talked to that now own shops, and that's how they started.
Yeah, yeah,
And they weren't sure what they just a job that they got, but then they just got interested, and they found that they liked fixing things, and it made them feel good, to do something, with their
yeah.
hands, So,
It's
yep. So anyway,
continue to grow and
um,
get educated.
yeah. So any questions that I haven't asked that I should have?
Oh,
Go.
yeah. I don't know that there's any that you should have asked
Okay.
necessarily.
All right.
I think my story's out there 100%. Of course, I'd always love to know more about you and Paul, and where you came from and what you're doing. But at the same time,
Sure.
you're the interviewer, and I don't want to be swapping roles there for you.
Okay. Well, listen, Peter, I do want to thank you very much for taking your valuable time to be on a guest on Top Shop Podcast. I believe you've given some great advice. Please, listen to the podcast yourself. There's lots of shop owners there that have given a lot of advice over the years. So anyway.
For additional automotive resources and exclusive content, follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all our episodes. Thanks again for joining us in the driver's seat, and we'll see you next time for another thrilling episode of Top Shop.